He's got it.
I'll let him know he's live.
Yeah. Then I'll just put that on.
Test, test.
Yeah, and if we get any questions on Facebook Live after your sub speech, I'll read them.
Okay.
Oh, we should have put it on the camera. I'll watch it.
Make sure that they can ask questions too on Facebook Live.
Okay. Test, test. Okay, hey. That sounds pretty good. It's like this is a professional soundstage or something. It's pretty wild. Hey, everybody. Welcome to After Hours, the Nick Timm special. Appreciate y'all coming out, braving the heat. It's a good night. A little bit cooler than last night. Okanogan's making a big comeback. This is super fun. Getting able to be part of this and seeing what's happening and all the positive events and people, coming out and making this happen. It's pretty amazing. Fun to be part of, and I know everybody down in downtown Okanogan and the city of Okanogan is on the same page. Again, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Everybody on live stream, everybody on the Facebook pages of whichever organization you're logging on to. We're going to do a little Q&A afterwards, so feel free to save questions or just send them in as you think of them, and we'll get to them as time permits. I'm going to do a little stump speech. Never do stump speeches, but I'm doing a stump speech for you also. There you go. Happy last day of the heat, hopefully. Yeah, do that, Q&A, and then we're going to have a great night. I want to start by thanking Larry Phillips for making this all happen. This guy put in so much work. Round of applause. That's there. Yeah, Larry. Woo! Awesome. I mean, this place wouldn't be here without him. Okanogan wouldn't be seeing, such an influx of the arts without him. Him and his team are just kicking butt. You'll come down to the after hours here in Okanogan. It's in the FedEx building, south end, the old Crowder building, right across from the pool. Easy to miss, but once you're here, you'll want to come back again and again and again. You'll never want to leave. Okay, I am Nick Timm. I'm running for Okanogan County Commissioner District 1. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be part of this community. I'm very happy to be part of the county. I've lived here my entire life. The only time I ever left was for the military. I was gone 10 and a half years, but those were well spent. Traveled around the world, visited 7 continents, over 100 countries. My job was to fly into an area, figure out what the issue was going on, talk to the people, a lot of different people that liked us, people that didn't like us, people that really didn't like us, but I had a no-fail mission. I had to go in, I had to accomplish my task, and I'm proud to say I always came home successful. I never failed. I want to bring those lessons back to Okanogan County and really make it sing. My wife and I and our various teams of employees, volunteers, and friends have been working on the area for the better part of 5 years. Don't know if you remember, we were the ones that found the murals down at the old red light building. We've got some really good news on that. It should be coming out pretty soon, but we've got a rough partnership put together to display those, and it's going to be amazing. And the fact that we were able to save them, salvage them, and keep them almost 99% intact after being hidden for over 100 years is just amazing. I'm really proud to be part of that, and the community really coming together and making something amazing happen. A little bit more, we restore a lot of buildings in town. We've worked on over a dozen buildings, brought a lot of life back to the town. And like I said before, I'm just really happy to be part of the team that's doing this. It's an amazing group of people and a lot of energy in downtown Okanogan I haven't seen since I was a kid. We had industry in the area. The next thing, after I give that little preamble, people always ask, why are you running? You have 4 successful businesses. I have a beautiful wife. I'm not afraid to brag about that. I'm quite proud. She's trapped in New York right now thanks to those airline outages. But we've got great businesses. We've got great employees. We're having a really positive impact on the area. So why would you want to run? And I say, well, I think, and this is what I tell them, I've done everything I can on the private side. We've restored buildings. We've brought 100 plus jobs back to Okanogan. We got FedEx to come back to Okanogan. Sky's the limit here, and things just keep getting better. But I keep hitting the same issues again and again and again. People trying to say, no, we can't do that, red tape in the way. It's never been done before, we can't do that. And I'm tired of hearing that. Okanogan County is an amazing place, and we deserve better than no, that's never been done before. That's a ridiculous answer. When I think of Okanogan, I think of people saying, yes, let's do that. In 100 years, we can look back, just a brief 100 years ago, which is weird to think about, there was very little electricity, very little indoor plumbing, running water came from wells, most of them hand pumped, to now. We've got self-driving cars, a box in your pocket that can answer any question you want. We started that here. Our families did. We have the culture of being able to do the impossible. Moving to a place where there's literally nothing and thriving. That's the history of Okanogan. It's the history of yes. And we can do this. And we're going to work together, and we're going to come together as a community and make something amazing happen. And we're still here. Proof's in the pudding on that one. But I'm very tired of hearing no. I'm very tired of being told we can't do something for no good reason. I'm running for Okanogan County Commissioner to change that. My platform is built on 3 tenets: personal rights, property rights, and common sense law enforcement. The first 2 ensure that you're able to live your life as you see fit. This is America. Freedom is what we do. The third, common sense law enforcement, ensures the first 2 are protected. We don't need over-policing. We don't need militarization of police. We need good quality community policing to help people when they need it, identify problems, and to solve issues before they spiral out of control and something bad happens. We're very lucky in Okanogan County. The sheriff and the deputies we have are great guys. They work their butts off. We need more of them. We need more good guys helping us out to this effect. People then ask, well, how are we going to do this? This is Okanogan. We're a poor county. We're the largest county in Washington state with one of the lowest population densities. There's just over 40,000 people in our entire county. It comes out to be something, I think it's like 4 people per square mile. We no longer have more cows than people, and I think we need to get some more cows in the area. It'd be nice to go back to that, a little bit more industry. And that is my answer. How do we solve these issues? How do we get these things fixed? How do we address these very, very deep systemic issues of homelessness, drug use, crime, no houses on the market, no jobs? We bring business back to Okanogan. We need good Okanogan County themed businesses. We have the technology to conduct clean logging, clean mining, agriculture, farming, you name it. We can do this. I love clean water. I love the beautiful landscapes we have around here. We can use our land productively, safely, and keep everything gorgeous. And just what really makes Okanogan Okanogan. I mean, that's one of the pieces is the landscape. I've been all over. I can tell you right now, this is a one-of-a-kind place. I have been to cities so big they just boggle your mind. I've been in deserts that stretch for thousands of miles with nobody there. And they all have their perks and they all have their beauty, but there's only one place I want to call home, and that's Okanogan County. Okanogan County is the place to be. When we look at bringing business back, we have to be smart about it. We're never going to be Wenatchee. We're never going to be Spokane. We're never going to be a Seattle. We're too far out of the way. There's not enough access for roads and lines of transmission. And we have a few assets we can use to our advantage, and we can use them right now. The railroads, the highways, and the rivers. Underutilized at this point, they're almost derelict and abandoned. We can make a few simple changes, get a few good businesses back in the area, bring 400, 500 living wage jobs back, help people get into homes that are already here but are vacant for one reason or another. In fact, a third of the houses in the city of Okanogan proper are empty. That's about 100 houses. That's 100 families. That's 100 jobs. That's 100 people bringing life back to this area. It's our job as a community to unlock that asset, get the folks that own the houses, convince them to get them back on the market. And as commissioner, I can do a lot with that. We can talk with those folks. We can work with them. We can figure out something that will let them feel safe in renting again. On the topic of business, I mentioned it before, we have to have the right businesses for Okanogan County. We don't need data farms. We need real farms. We don't need Amazon warehouses. We need fruit and meat packing facilities. We don't need commuter people coming in, staying only for a day, working, and then leaving like you see in all the major cities. We need community members that are invested in making Okanogan County their home and making this place a truly amazing, memorable place to live, grow, and engage, and grow your families. I want Okanogan County. I'm going to make Okanogan County the place that you're proud to call home. It's not just, oh, I'm from Okanogan, it's a small little place, I'm from Okanogan, and oh, don't worry about it. No, I want kids to graduate, go to college, and be very proud. And be able to say with a smile on their face, with their head held high, I'm from Okanogan County. And when I graduate, I'm going to go back there and keep the area going. There's an amazing job waiting for me. My family's there. I want to raise my kids there. I want to have my dogs there. I want some cows there. These things are all within our reach. We just have to say yes. We have to realize we have more in common with each other than we have different. The name of the game for politics these days is division. You look on the news, you listen to some talking head tell you how you should be afraid, how you should be scared, how every day you should be worried about leaving your home. That's no way to live. In Okanogan County, we're better than that. I've seen it, I've lived it. We've come together time and time and time again. Fires, heat, cold, snow, floods, you name it, our community has met that head on and made a change for the positive. This is nothing new. This is just the latest crisis to come to our borders. All we have to do is come together. Don't let the talking heads tell you, oh no, be afraid of your neighbor, be afraid of your friends, be afraid of your family. Go out, come to great places like the after hours, engage with people, dance, sing, live life again. I know COVID's still fresh in our minds. That was a wicked, wicked thing, and it is still imprinted deep, deep, deep on our cultural mind. And it's going to take years to unwind that. But I see the positives happening right now in places like this. And it is every step forward out of that darkness and into the light that's going to make this place just really sing. My campaign slogan is strong roots, bold future. It's a simple slogan, 4 words. But it means a lot to me, and as I explain it to people, it means a lot to them. It doesn't matter to me if you've lived here or your family's lived here for 10 generations, or if you're freshly minted to the area. I say thank you for being here. You are part of those roots. We have a history reaching back a couple thousand years. Talk to the Caldwell tribe, talk to the first settlers that came over, talk to anybody. This is a place rich in history, cultural values, strong, wonderful people. It's easy to forget though. Strong roots. We've got to cultivate those, keep them going, and make things happen. You can't have a strong tree with weak roots. The second half, bold future. As we all know, change happens. There is no way to stop it. Many people want to deny it. Say, oh, we can keep doing things the same way we've always done. It doesn't work. As I mentioned before, we went from living in a society with barely running water and electricity to having the answer to any question you can ever imagine in your pocket. You can call across the globe and talk to your family in Japan. You can take a plane to anywhere you want, as long as you're willing to drive to Spokane or Seattle. We're working on that. That's part of it. We're bringing business back. We're gonna work on the airport. We're gonna get a lot more transportation in here. We're gonna give people a real reason to come to Okanogan. I can promise you that. Change happens. If you try to describe this to somebody 100 years ago, how we live now, they'd probably think you're a witch or something. And it's hot enough. I don't want to do over fire. I'm okay with that. We have to be bold. We have to meet change head on. We have to meet crisis head on, as we've always done as Okanogan. We have to stand together. When the fires came through for the Carlton Complex fire, when many other fires came through, when half the reservation burned down, when a fire raced from the old, now burned down mill to Bridgeport in what, under 4 hours? What did we do? We didn't hide in our houses. Every single person got up, rallied, helped their neighbors, brought food, brought water, brought blankets. If you could, you grabbed a shovel. If you had a truck, you took it out and tended fire. You brought the firefighters food, water, you took care of those guys. The men and women out there doing that are heroes. We can't ever forget that. We always come together. Bold Future is Okanogan County. It's how we've done business our entire existence. And I will say that every day, and I will say it proudly. Our job is to remember that no matter what, we are Okanogan County. We are an integral part of what makes this place amazing. The land, the people, the culture, the history, you name it. You take anything away and it's less. You forget any one of those things, it's less. It's hard to start standing together. But as soon as we do, it's the easiest thing in the world. We've got a lot of big changes to make to Okanogan. Anybody that says otherwise, well, I won't call them wrong, but I think we're on the right side of this one. There's a lot of people with a lot of hard issues to deal with. Homelessness and drug use are two that pop to my mind. I've already been meeting with the county department heads and OBHC, the recovery navigators, you name it. There's folks working on these issues right now and in a positive way. We're seeing positive effects. We're seeing people getting into recovery and having the lives they want to lead. They made a mistake. They did drugs. Some really powerful ones. That shouldn't be the end all for their lives though. We've all made mistakes. One bad decision shouldn't be the end all for us. That's not American. That's not human. And that's not Okanogan. We can make that difference though and help these people get back on their feet. I always advocate for a hand up and not a hand out. And I've seen how it works firsthand. Just to wrap things up, again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for braving the heat. Looks like it's cooling down next week, so enjoy this while we can because it's going to be -20 before you know it. electnicktimm.com. Check it out. Go to the Facebook page. Talk to anybody on the campaign staff. Talk to your neighbors. Remember to vote by August 6th, preferably now. Get your ballot. I won't say, I humbly ask for your vote. But even if you're not voting for me, go and vote. This is how we make our voice heard. This is how we make a difference. This is step one. Put who you think is going to make the most positive impact on Okanogan. I've been here my entire life. My family's been here for 4 years, 4 generations. It's not wrong saying 4 years, but it's a lot longer than that. We've ranched, we've farmed, we've orcharded, we run businesses, we've worked for the county, we work for the city. We've been all over. It's what we do. It's what Okanogan does. We make good things happen. We have the coolest people in the world. We've got hippies, we've got ranchers, we've got new people coming in, we've got families that have been here for 10 generations. I know how to work with everybody. I know how to communicate. I've got the skills to bring jobs and business back to Okanogan. And again, we can make this place a truly awesome, awesome county where we can call it home for the next 100 years, recognize it, have a positive impact, and love living here. That's it. Thank you very much. We'll do a couple questions and then see if anything came through on Facebook.
All right, does anyone have any questions?
I think Stella does.
With like the fires, how would you go about like preventing them or helping the community do better? I guess.
Great question. So this all goes back to mismanagement of our wildlands. The state is not doing their job. Fish and Wildlife, DNR, you name it. The tribe's actually been stepping up and doing a really good job managing things, burn and slash, getting things cleared out. So props to them. 77% of Okanogan County, more than that now, is owned by the state or the federal government. They are not actively managing the forests. They are letting a lot of dead wood accumulate. They're letting a lot of sagebrush just grow crazy. With the carefully planned use of thinning, pruning, and harvest of timber and prescribed burns, we could easily, and we would prevent another Carlton complex from ever happening again. But that takes some thinking, and that's hard for the state to do, so it's difficult. So we can only ask them so much before we have to step in and do it ourselves. And I'm not against that. If I'm elected county commissioner, that's, we got to make sure our community's safe. If we're not safe, we don't really have much to work on. So thank you for the question. It's a good one.
Is there anything being done to bridge the gap between the tribe and the county?
Not currently. So another big reason I'm running for county commissioner is I grew up out on the reservation, grew up on Timm Road. That's my home. I'm a proud member of the Choctaw tribe. Do not let the beard fool you. I'm a proud card-carrying member. I've known half of council my entire life. They've known my family their entire lives. They work with my family right now to secure cattle leases, grazing rights, buffer zones, you name it. I was out there recently visiting with council and had a great meeting. We agreed on the issues. We immediately agreed that we need to do more meetings and coordinate. Nothing crazy to start with. 4 meetings a quarter, 2 out there, 2 here in the county, and start working together. The problems we face don't end at the river. That's the first thing I tell people when they ask, are you going to work with the tribe? I am absolutely going to work with the tribe. There's a lot of good people on the reservation. They deserve just as much protection and access to resources as anybody on the other side of the river. I'm going to make that happen. Again, I've got the connections. I know the people. And I'm willing to work with them. No one's ever going to be 100% happy with a deal, but we can make it effective and the right thing for our citizens. Thank you. Great question.
I guess I just had a quick question.
Never a quick question.
I know, right? So the statistic of a third of the houses being vacant in city limits. So in your experience, are these houses just boarded up, or do they keep the property up? And does the assessor take any of this into consideration when they revalue everyone else's property?
I have to ask Larry myself. I'm not sure on the valuation aspect. I do know that it's a mix of newly vacant properties. People's parents live here. They've lived here. Their families are from here. The parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they pass away. The kids live elsewhere. They don't know what to do with the house. They don't want to put it on the rental market because the rental market in Washington is difficult right now. You have to be very careful who you rent to, but that eliminates a lot of folks that need housing. If you look on a background check of somebody that desperately needs housing, it's going to be hard. For a lot of average renters or landlords, it's going to be hard to rent to them. A fair amount are boarded up and decaying. Unfortunately, that's another reason they're not being rented out. The families just don't feel safe renting them out. And another big chunk of them are vacation homes or rentals, Airbnb, people's second or third homes. It's a big issue we've got to deal with. We've got to give these folks an incentive, a positive incentive, to rent out to folks and give housing back to our community. We've seen what companies like Airbnb do when they move into an area, and suddenly all the housing goes to short-term rentals. You have a desolate area. The towns die. There's nobody living there permanently. Yeah, you think you might chase the quick buck by having somebody come in and give you a couple $100 for a night or whatever, but long-term benefit for the community, it doesn't work. There's absolutely a market for the short-term rentals. Again, we have a beautiful place. People want to come here and experience it. I welcome them with open arms. But at the moment, we have an oversaturated market. And that's having a huge detrimental effect on our community. Not just the city of Okanogan, but the entire county. You take that 100 houses and scale that up across the entire county, I would wager the numbers are near the thousands or 1,500. It's a lot. But again, we need to work with these folks, reach out to them one-on-one, let them know the effect this is having, and figure out a way to give them a reason and to feel safe in renting these places out or selling them at an affordable rate. Great question. Thank you.
All right, we got one question online from Aaron Steiner.
And then Lotus got one right after her, so there you go.
How is the relationship with the sheriffs to protect the county from federal intrusion?
From federal intrusion, meaning we have feds coming in and doing things that they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think I read it verbatim, but I think the question is sort of, I don't know, what can the county and the sheriffs do if they feel there is an intrusion at the federal or state level? I'm not sure exactly what the person's asking, but we might get some more clarification.
Sure, so great question. There's a legislative act that has not been enforced for the past 20 years. It's called coordination. Legally, state and federal agencies have to coordinate with the Office of the County Commissioners before they take any action in our county. It is our county first. We are part of the state, yes, and we are beholden to their laws. However, if they're going to do anything independent of their own agency and want to do things on their own, they have to check with us first. If I'm elected, that's what I'm going to make them do. It's nothing new, not being mean. I'm asking them to follow the law, and I'll do the same thing. Without laws, we don't really have much of a country, so I'm happy to do that. But it's just adding one more hurdle in the way of things happening too quickly. We want to make sure the choices that come to Okanogan are positive for Okanogan. And that's the way to do that. Great question, so thank you. And if there is clarification, if I didn't answer that, send that in and we'll get it figured out. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. You know, I was thinking about, you know, we're talking about the homeless and the housing and this and that, and there's a lot of homeless. I mean, you see them all over the place. I've seen some people sit out there in this unbelievable heat, still panhandling. And you know they're not just there on a lark. You know, some of them are, I don't know what's going on. The other thing I noticed over the years, different places would empty out, nothing would happen, and like at one time, nursing home here at Okanogan. Okay, it was done. Well, it seemed like there could have been a grant or a something to get a roof on that place and turn that into, it already had a kitchen, already had a big kitchen, had a lot of rooms, to make that into something that could house some people that, you know, there are a lot of people that lost homes and lost things, not to, everybody, those homeless guys, they just want to be like that. Well, that's not true. I've been homeless since '09 for one reason or another, and that is no bullshit. It's just the way it happened. I lost my house, then I lost my home to a fire from my son, but I'm good because I have a lot of friends, and I've helped a lot of people, so I'm lucky. I'm lucky that, but not a lot of people are that lucky. But also, I think like a place like that, and other places you see, not only could they be used to house people, but to be places where people could learn skills that would put them back to work, because if people are able to do that, you don't think people don't want to get out there on their own and be able to make their way without having to beg for something from, you know, I've been there, raised 4 kids by myself, and when I came here, it's only going to be a year that I'm going to ask for anything, loaf or anything, and then I'll be done. And I did that. I got off, which was not a good thing because the pay at that time wasn't that good. But I was pretty prideful about it. Got it done. My kids could have had a better life, but they're fine. They're good. You know what I'm saying? But that was the thing I'm telling you, is that people want to be able to make their own way. They really do. Unless something has changed radically. But it's about, is there a way, how would you go about maybe seeing about some of these places that are just basically abandoned, people don't want to deal with them, have it back, and see about the grant money, the this and that. And I know the commissioners always are looking. The current guy that stepped down was always looking for a grant for this or to that, but you know what I'm saying? And how would you handle some of that if you have the opportunity, or if you can make the opportunity to see what we can do to restore places that don't need to be sitting like that and can be used for education and retraining and housing. House them while they're busting their ass to do it. And and yeah, there's got to be rules and regulations for people to behave themselves in these places. But yeah,
It's a great question, and it's a big question, and the answer I have to that is, if elected, one of the first things I'm going to start doing is getting a port district put together for Okanogan County. It's very difficult for the county to own property that would make money or appear anything on the books that it knows profitable. What we can do with a port district is, on a one-to-one level, work with these folks. So the nursing home specifically is an owner issue. The city of Okanogan's working on that. They've been working on it. It's just slow going. A lot of rules and regulations in place. It is happening, and a lot of people want to do just what you said. If we get the port district going, that allows us as a county, as a port district, we get a commissioner, we get a board there. It's just like a business essentially. They can buy these properties, fix them up, use grant money to access that. You get rural development block grants, that sort of thing, on a big scale and on a positive scale, to make it happen in a short amount of time. That's one of the main issues I'm going to be working on, is getting, again, the port district is a huge economic driver for the area. They can purchase buildings, they can rent it out, they can lease it, and we can address these issues on a very base level, and we can make things happen. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. It's, again, big question. I know I answered just a slice of it, but that's where we're starting. Yeah.
I guess I just have a follow-up on that. So,
yeah.
For clarification, so what exactly do you envision with a port district? Is it like an actual dock type port, or highway infrastructure, or airports, or is it all of the above, or what would you envision?
So yeah, port district it's evolved from port district started out strictly ports, port cities, Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, that area down there. You used to be able to take and make a port district on a city by city basis. That has changed. Legally now you have to have it on the county basis. It entails all commerce. It has evolved just from shipping to all commerce. So they own property, they own businesses, they have leases, they rent to folks, they work with folks for economic development. It's essentially what we're doing right now on the private side by getting creative solutions for people to get their businesses started. A port can do that on a much bigger scale. And we can address issues on a really granular base level. Questions? Bueller?
So my question
Bueller.
would be for, does the county commissioner deal with people that have families that deal with disabilities like autism and helping the schools out? Like for me, my son is autistic, and so I'm the only way to get him help is to go to Seattle or go to Spokane. How would we get that help here in the schools, or for just the families around in the community, because we're such a small community?
Yep, great question. So this comes to bringing business and jobs back to the area. We're kind of a black hole when it comes to services like that. My father-in-law, I have just a tremendous amount of respect for him. He's in New York, and I was there for the last week visiting him. He just turned 70. He still works 18-hour days. He is a social worker by trade, has been a social worker his entire adult life. He works with developmentally disabled adults, and he runs an adult care home. And he gives them a place to live, make sure they get their medication, make sure they get food, make sure they're taken care of, but they live their own lives. He's just there to make sure they can do that. It's all paid through Medicare and Medicaid. He doesn't charge a nickel over that. That's why I have just a tremendous, he's not just a savvy businessman. He's been in business for 30 years. He's done it when other companies are charging 4 or 5 times this and bankrupting families just to take care of a developmentally disabled family member. He doesn't do that. And I spent most of the time talking with him about how we can get services to this area. And he's got some time, and he's going to come out and work with us to kind of get something figured out. He's a professional. This is what he does. This is what he does his entire adult life. And we can get these things up here. But we've got to make that need known. We've got to go talk to people. We've got to work with folks. And we've got to give them a reason to feel like they have a stake in this community. But yeah, so on the official level, like county commissioners deal with that, not 100%. If I'm elected, what I can do is go to these organizations and say, hey, I'm Nick Timm, I'm a county commissioner from Okanogan County. We need X, Y, and Z services here. What can we do to make this happen? And how much is it going to cost? What can we do to, where can we get the money for that? How are we going to make it happen? Again, I'm not going to say no. We've never done that. I'm going to say yes, let's do it. Loda, you got a follow-up? Microphone's coming to you. Great question, thank you.
Because I have autistic grandchildren. I have one that has grown up now. She's 18. She's only going to get services for so long. Should her parents die, guess what? You see what I'm saying? Not only that, too, they need to take the information from the schools right here in Okanogan County and take that information, because you ask these schools how many kids are on those scales, are getting the services that they're getting through the school, because they have been named autistic children.
Yep.
And there's nothing for them, not really.
I agree, and it's a disservice to our community.
But here's another thing, some more grants. I mean, all of that. How do we get that to happen? And it doesn't need to happen 10 or 20 or 18 years from now. We need it now, because you know what? We just need it. There's way a lot of children, and some people believe that this and the brain cancer thing have something to do with the pesticides and the industries that we do have.
Sure.
I'm not saying that because I'm not a scientist. I don't know. But all of that is something to look into, when all this stuff is being addressed. But we have children that are disabled, and a lot of autistic children. There's a lot of them right here in the county, right in the 2-3 cities that I know of.
Well, it's no surprise. I mean, it is statistically known that we have it's something like a 10,000% increase for mental illness in youth and cancer risks later on in life living in a rural area, specifically north central Washington. There's a whole host of varieties we've attributed it to. I personally think a lot of it's the radiation from Hanford, coming up. Is if you had a vegetable garden anytime from the 50s to the 90s and you ate your vegetables that you grew, your risk for gallbladder cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, lymphoma goes, I think the number is close to 10,000% increase. It's insane. This isn't an issue that's going away.
Well, I just think if they look at the statistics,
Yep.
Start with the kids. Start with the kids, because the kids are our future. I don't care which way you slice it.
Oh yeah.
Our kids are the future. That's what we're working for, is to have our kids and our grandkids, because we're going to be gone one day. We'll all be gone. We'll all be dust. And they're going to be the ones trying to take care of this, clean up this mess we've made.
We need to start now, and that's absolutely, we have to get ahead of this.
We
need to start right now, and that's the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Loda. That was a great question. And yeah, that's one thing we can work on, and I'm planning to work on. Another thing is getting things for kids to do. We all grew up around here. It's you didn't have much to do when you're growing up. There's a couple sayings about it, but when you're bored, you cause mayhem. When you're bored, you get in trouble. When you're bored, the cops get called, and everything kind of goes downhill. It's not fun anymore. What we need to do, again, I just keep pointing to Larry because we're here, and plus this is an amazing example, after hours. They do youth engagement, they do events, they do music, they do mentoring. This is the thing we need to do. This is where it's at, right here. And we need more of this, and we need more of it now. And again, it's an easy thing to do. For a lot of people, I'm running as a Republican. Ooh, scary, I know. To a lot of Republicans, grants is a dirty word. We don't want to take government money. It's going to just do this, that, and the other thing. We're already taking government money. It's how we survive as a county. It's how the world works right now. If somebody tells you, don't take it because they'll get their hooks in you, tell them you've already got their hooks. What we can do is the only thing we can do is make sure we know what those hooks are. and mitigate the effects of those. And I have a history in grant writing. I've worked on grant administration, grant acquisition, grant finding. I worked, it was a really good time doing it. I have the experience to do that. I know who to talk to, what to look for, and how to make that positive aspect of the grant system happen. Thank you, Loda.
Hi, Nick.
Hey.
Thanks for having us here.
Thanks for being here.
On a note of what you were speaking of, with children getting bored, things get quiet, not a lot to offer at times. I was curious, in the winter it gets pretty quiet. Is there anything that you can look for here in Okanogan County in the winters as an event maybe we haven't done before? More events in summers, springs. I know, for example, in Montana they do the ski touring.
Yep.
And I was curious, is this something that could help bringing businesses to our county all throughout the year?
Yep. It's a great question. And we can look at areas that have already successfully implemented this in other states. Different areas. Winthrop does that ice ring up there. They do hockey. They do all sorts of fun things. Part of the Port District, I'm a track and field athlete. That's what I do. I threw the javelin. I threw the shot put. I ran the 4x4. Most heinous race in the world. Oh, if you're not blacking out when you're coming across that finish line, you're not doing it right. We produce, as Okanogan County, we produce world-class athletes, time and time and time again. Chalk it up to the clean air and the good hard work growing up, or whatever you want to. We have those people here. We need to give them the facilities to match their talents. Part of the Port District Drive is going to be getting a 365 availability for a pool, an all-weather track, and a stadium. We have that wonderful facility over on the other side of the river. Let's expand that. Let's make it happen. Let's give kids a reason to go out. Hey, it's January, it's -20. You know what? We're going to go hop in the pool and do swim team. You know what? We're going to go run on the track. We're going to go do a pickup game of football. We're going to go to the basketball courts. That not only would engage our youth and get kids out and doing something positive and keep them away from drugs, keep them away from getting in trouble with the law, keep them away from doing all the things kids do when they're bored. It's just the nature of things. It's our job as adults and, compassionate caretakers to make sure they have those options afforded to them. It wouldn't cost that much to get going. Grant funding is there for child development like that. There's a lot of grants available. There's very few hooks in them. All that they ask is that we administer it correctly, make sure it's taken care of, and access to everybody, available to everybody. It's an easy thing to do. The hardest part is just saying, yes, let's do it. But as soon as you say that, you're good to go. That's part of what I'm doing. Absolutely.
All right, we got another online question from Christy Patterson. Small businesses can't compete with big companies when it comes to providing their employees with health insurance. Many of our small business owners can't even afford health insurance themselves. What can we do at the local level to ensure health care for small businesses and their employees?
Great question. Thank you, Christy. As a small business owner, I can absolutely back that up. I don't have health insurance through my company, my employees. I'm working on getting health insurance for them. There are a number of programs available to offer low-cost or no-cost health insurance to rural and developing areas. Again, as a county, we just need to make that happen. We need to say, yes, work with the people, be willing to sit down and talk with them. It's going to take some compromise, but it would be a net gain for our citizens. And as leaders in our community, our citizens deserve that time. You don't want to be one injury away from bankruptcy your entire life. You don't want to go to the emergency room and pay $50,000 if you broke your arm or got hurt or got sick. We can make a positive change on that. And again, it just takes saying yes, sitting down with the correct people, working through it, and figuring out a solution. Another aspect of that is when we bring more business back to the area, a rising tide floats all ships. I know that with more people coming into the area, they'll utilize more of my business and services. My guys will go out and be able to spend some more money. They'll make some more money. I'll be able to expand my operations. And one of the first things I'm working on is getting them some kind of healthcare, even if it's just dental and vision, something small like that. But again, bring business back to Okanogan. Bring the right kind of business back to Okanogan so we don't sacrifice our valuable ag lands, we don't sacrifice the businesses we already have, and we actually generate value in the community and keep it in the community instead of sending it out. Big box stores, they come in, well, you think, oh cool, I can go one-stop shop, wonderful, great. It's true. But all that money, aside from wages they pay and taxes they pay, leaves this area never to return. It is a river. It is a monsoon. It is just a rush of money leaving this area. We need local solutions to keep local money local. Thank you. Great question, Christy. Really appreciate it.
So I guess I have one more. Have you worked much with the Okanogan Economic Alliance yet? And is there some kind of function of the commissioner's office? And we've been talking about grants a lot. Like, I don't know if that's an idea that would be advantageous, is to have some kind of subcommittee that their job is to look into and apply for grants to bring some of this much needed infrastructure to the county.
So yes, Ronnie Diefenbach-Holders, she's a friend of mine. She does an amazing job with the Economic Alliance. She puts me to shame. And I sleep about 3 hours a night. I don't know how she does it. She's got grandkids, she's got businesses. Her and her husband and a couple other in town, big businesses too. They do a damn good job. I'm proud to know them, and I'm proud of what they do in the area. She is the economic driver. So we've discussed this actually, and there is, I don't know if you call it a subcommittee, I think it's just her that identifies them and puts in money for these grants, but I've worked with her a number of times, particularly on the murals, to try and find funding for what we're doing. She is the local expert for grants and grant funding and administration on that side. From our conversation, it seems like she wants to expand that, but she doesn't have time. That would be, again, where the Port District comes into play. That's the Port District's job. They are local infrastructure, local business, local commerce. If we can get them going with the right people in charge, easy, problem solved. Let them go, let them do their thing. I have an extensive background with training people to do a good job. You can't do anything on any kind of scale unless you're able to communicate effectively, train your people, and empower them to do their jobs. We get the right people in for any job here in the county, for the Port District I'm proposing. We just let them go and watch the cool things happen. And yeah, great question. So yeah, got one more in the back.
How would you help the people that have like the drug problem or people in recovery, like of getting them help or anything like that? Like, I don't know how to explain it.
No, I got you. It's a big question. Again, these are good. Thank you for everybody for the questions. They're big questions. They're good questions. This is the kind of things we need to tackle. And if I'm elected, it is an open door policy. Get my number, call me, make an appointment, come in, talk. I want to hear what's going on in your life, and if I'm able to, how I can make it better. So I've been working with, not working with yet, but having conversations with OBHC, Recovery Navigators, a bunch of nonprofit groups in the area, a bunch of people that are working every day to reduce the drug issues and get people help. Biggest thing right now is we have a wait list on pretty much all of our services. So I was asked a couple weeks ago to respond back to a bunch of folks about my meeting with OBHC. So I haven't forgotten about you. I've just been running around. This is kind of an update on it. Their answer, they do a good job. Their resources are limited right now, and they have a wait list. They have beds available to get people off the streets and into recovery, but they're full, and they're always full. We need the ability to house these folks. When they come in, I was talking to a guy yesterday at the dog days, and it was a great conversation. He said he just got out of the jungle, the homeless camp, just got into a house down in Malott, nothing fancy, it's a travel trailer, but he's not homeless anymore. He's super excited, nice guy. He said his girlfriend just willingly checked herself into recovery, which is amazing. She realized she had to make a change. She had kids, it was affecting them. She said, I need to get clean. And yeah, applause is warranted. That's an amazing, it's a hard thing to say. My life needs a positive change. We've all been there to one extent or another. Some people, in dire straits more than others. Luckily, they had a bed for her. Got her in. And they got a pretty good success rate once people get in. They got some good programs, they got good experts. We need more master's level and doctorate level therapists and folks to come in. I think we've got 3 in the entire county right now, and they just kind of bounce around between organizations. Again, bringing business back. The hardest thing we have right now with medical professionals is keeping people in the area. We have really qualified, amazing people move out here. They can't find housing. Their significant other doesn't want to live here. Their kids don't have the opportunities they're looking for. If we can fix those three things, which we can do just with the conversation we've had now, we can attract these people, we can retain them, and we can get these issues solved in a very short amount of time. Great question. Thank you. Oh, it's good. This is what these things are for.
But my other question is concerning education and educating our children into some of these things, some of these services, to start the kids early enough and pique their interest in some of the things that would require these services later on in our lifetimes, their lifetimes, whatever. And how could we go about getting some kind of, I don't know if they would even do it in school or extracurricular, whatever, credits or whatever that would educational programs that would educate them and pique their interest into wanting to get into these helping others. And because they go to school with a lot of these kids that are disabled themselves, and instead of them bullying them or making fun of them, helping them to learn to understand what's going on with them. You see what I'm saying? And how could we get programs and things like that maybe initiated in the education program to help the kids get started learning about all of this and wanting to be here to learn and help their communities in this way?
It's a big question. It's a good one. And on the county level, I'd have to think on that one. I know from personal experience, it starts in the family. My dad, when I was a kid, I saw this girl. She was special needs. She was getting picked on, and I went and told my dad, "This doesn't seem right." I think we were second or third grade. We were little kids, and I will never forget what he said. And this is how I've kind of lived my life ever since. He says, "When you see somebody unable to defend themselves, you get in the way and you defend them." And that's what we have to do. I mean, we are not defined by the strongest members of our society, but by how we treat the less fortunate members of our society. We are not animals. We are a civilized, wonderful county. We have to be able to defend those that can't defend themselves. That's American. That's what we're supposed to do. Our children and our elders. We can't forget them. Yep. Thank you, Loda. Great question.
We've got another question from Aaron Steiner.
Okay.
Have you met with the sheriff? Do they align with your views?
Sheriff Boudreau is a very, very busy man. He's one of the last county department heads we haven't met with, and we're working on it hopefully this week. Sheriff, if you're watching, I'm going to come and sit down and talk with you. It's going to happen. We've run into each other a bunch of other times. We've chatted. Again, it comes down to staffing and resources. That's the issue. They want to make Okanogan a safe, wonderful place to live. That's why they do what they do. It's not for the paycheck. We all know that. They do it because they have a passion for it. We need to be able to pay these guys better. We need to be able to attract top tier, recruits and lateral moves from other counties. Instead of people just starting here, getting certified and leaving, on the sheriff's side, on the jail side, any kind of county position, we need to lateral them in from other counties. This goes back to bringing business back to Okanogan. We can't tax people any more than we already are. Our property values are going sky high. We can't afford groceries. We can't afford gas. The last thing I'm going to say is, hey, let's tax everybody some more. No, the exact opposite. We need to get more people in here and spread the load. If we can do that, we can get these top tier folks in here, get them working on a positive direction for the county, solve a lot of problems. Larry, you had one in the back?
There.
Oh!
What would it take to get a vocational training center?
So I was talking with one of the board members at Wenatchee Valley College about this very thing. They are very, very eager to make this a major training and retraining hub. We have people that need jobs. We have people that want to work. It was mentioned earlier, these folks on the street don't want to be in the street forever. So Some do. I've talked to some, that's the way they want to live. Good for them. Good for them. Most of them don't, though. They want to be able to work. They want to be able to make their own way. And to do that, we have to be able to equip them with modern-day skills for modern-day problems. The world is changing very quickly. AI is replacing a lot of our jobs. We are on the cusp of something that will make the Industrial Revolution look like a blip on the radar. The change we are about to see in the next 5 years is going to put the last 150 to shame. We need to be prepared for that. We need to know how to engage with this changing environment, and having a vocational rehab and retraining center is key to that. We're a huge county. We're a poor county. We have a lot of spread out people, and if you lose your job, that's sometimes you've lost everything. We need to have the ability to get them back into something immediately that both helps the county and helps them. So conversations are happening, and they're interested in doing it. They really, really want to do it. It's either a new president or a new director at Wenatchee Valley College, and he bops up here quite a bit. It's good. It's real good. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of things are happening right now in the area, and it's very positive. On my side, we do a lot of internships and a lot of sponsoring for kids. Parents bring me their kids, and they say, "Can you do something with this individual?" They don't do anything. So I say, "Okay, come on in." We do this. We've done it with 6 or 7 kids now. They come into our organizations. We sponsor them. We intern them. We bounce them around the different aspects of the job, teach them the bare basics of different trades. And it's amazing. I've been working with some of these kids for 3 or 4 years, and I've seen them develop into amazing young people. I'm seriously bummed when they go to college. I'm like, okay, I've actually come to rely on you. You shouldn't be leaving. Stay here. Come on, stay here. And they're like, oh, we'll come back. And some of them do, which is amazing. And they're positive, wonderful members of this community. But it's something we can do right now on the business side. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, taking and showing kids how to. Larry, you do the same thing. You bring in kids, you work with them, you teach them how to, you do the music thing, do the sponsorship thing. Teach them useful skills, get them interested in things, keeps them out of trouble. And I also tell them, hey, if you're partying too hard, you don't drive, just call me. I'll come get you. That's an open door thing for me. Any of my employees, not used regularly, but I'm very happy when they do call. So it keeps Okanogan safer and more productive. Great question. Thank you.
All right, we're almost out of time here.
Okay.
My question would be, sounds great. I want to support you. How can I get more involved?
Great question. First, vote. Ballots are out. Look for your ballot. If you don't see your ballot next couple days, go to the courthouse. Get your ballot. Get a voter's guide. Get educated. Vote, vote, vote. Again, even if it's not for me, make your voice heard. Do what you think is right for the county. Get with our campaign staff. Phil Wells right here, Jordan Wells, Amanda Skinner. Levi, you're now part of this, so sorry, you're sitting at the big table. Get with any of these guys. Talk with them. Come out to the events. I know it's hot. I know it's summertime and everybody's busy. I'm fried from yesterday. I was sitting out in the sun all day. Phil was sitting out in the sun all day. Amanda was there. Huda was there. Oh, it was a day. Saw Levi too. It was great. Get involved. Come out. See what you can do. Come out to the events. Talk with people. Bring questions. This is why we do these meet and greets. Bring good questions. I'm not afraid to answer the big questions. And I'll tell you if I don't know. I'll tell you if we're not already doing something. And if that's the case, we're probably going to start doing it. It's that simple. Get out, get involved, love your county. Remember we're neighbors. Remember we have more in common than we'll ever have apart. Don't let fear win. Don't be afraid of change. Meet it head on. Be bold. Rely on those strong roots. Thank you.
All right. And just so everyone knows, we will have another one of these events Thursday at 11:30 at the Voltage Coffee House in Grand Coulee. Also, find Friends of Nick Timm on Facebook and go to www.electnicktimm.com. Thank you.
I was gonna bring no water, but I don't want to get tired of telling. I was gonna slip around them down and get me out of there. You see that? That was nice to come down and check it out. Yeah. No, I wasn't hungry. I came to just be support. Very thankful. Just wanted to open. Going with the boys. I arrived. Grenade. Close the door. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be awesome. Yeah, do a band night. No, I didn't know what was going on, but I did want to come down and do a what's your party for your cold? That's right, yeah. Awesome. I can see that. Oh, wow. Election night. And all would gather here. And that'd be fun. Just party, get some music going. Let's plan on that. That'd be great. That'd be amazing. I get a band in there. Yeah. Give me the date. August 6th. August 6th. We're gonna put the computer together and tell us what the votes are. I'm excited to see what happens. I'll just have work to see if it pays off. I don't know. Either way, it's great. It'll be good. We'll get somebody in. We'll get some music in here. Oh yeah. No, this is good. This is good. Glad we had engagement on Facebook. That was awesome. It was great. It's such a quick space. Turn around.
Only if they're in.
I've never even heard that before.
It's right by the flower though. Whatever you don't pay, they could pay for you.
If I'm not a nonprofit establishment, I don't know. Yeah, you have to see what the grant is. Sometimes they just strictly for, just have to prove that it's going too often. But if you've done nonprofit, then you're part of it. Give it back. Forcing it. And if you find a good grant writer, they don't even charge you to get the grant. Now we built into the grant fee. Which is nice. And I can talk to Ron. Love what you're doing. She was here last Friday night party. Her and Ron. No, she's big fan. Big fan. And she's the excellent. She's running. So I'm establishing my program. If you got a nonprofit, you can actually in the area do something. I'll get a big one out in Washington. Yeah. Yeah, so you just get the city. She's always happy to talk. Ronnie's great.
When she's there.
She's a busy woman.
Her and Don were here Friday night watching up the storm. Had a great time.
That's what we need.